Maddie, what's wrong? Why did you suddenly go outside like that? Is something bothering you? You really have the nerve to ask me that, don't you? How can you say that after what just happened? And more importantly, how did you even get in touch with me? I didn't give you my number. Well, I heard it from Gabe, of course. That's how I got it. Wait, what? Gabe told you? That doesn't make any sense. Why would Gabe give my phone number to someone like you? In fact, why are you even here? Why would someone as irrelevant as you be present during Gabe's and my engagement announcement? It's absurd. There's nothing absurd about it, Maddie. I'm Gabe's childhood friend, and because I've known him for so long, I felt like it was my responsibility to come here and see what kind of woman he's planning to marry. I mean, wouldn't you want to know if your childhood friend was about to make a huge mistake? I don't need you to evaluate me, and I certainly don't need your approval. This is between Gabe and me. Oh, Maddie, you're only saying that because you lack confidence. If you were truly confident in your relationship with Gabe, you wouldn't be so defensive. Instead, you'd be proud and stand tall. But here you are, acting like you need to run away from home just because I'm here. That's not true. I'm not running away from anything. It's just that having someone like you around made me feel sick to my stomach. And by the way, why is Gabe even letting you do this? Why would he allow you to come here and stir up all this drama? What do you mean allow? Gabe asked me to come here. He personally requested that I come and meet you to see what kind of person you are. He wanted my honest opinion. What? There's no way that's true. Gabe would never do something like that. He loves me. We've been together for 2 years and we've built a life together. He proposed to me because he wants to spend the rest of his life with me, not because he needed someone else's opinion. There's no way he asked you to come here to judge me. Oh, Maddie, you're so naive. It's natural to have doubts when you're about to make a life-changing decision like marriage. Don't you think Gabe might be feeling a bit uncertain, even if he loves you? People have second thoughts all the time. But that doesn't justify this. You showing up here, uninvited, and making me feel like I'm being put on trial, it's completely out of line. Well, since I'm already here, I might as well give you my assessment, don't you think? I don't want or need your so-called assessment. This is ridiculous. Oh, no, you definitely need it, and I'm going to give it to you whether you like it or not. So, here it is. You're not good enough for Gabe. Excuse me? You heard me. I mean, just look at you. When Gabe told me he was getting married, I was shocked. But when I actually saw you, I was even more surprised. I didn't expect you to be so plain. You're not attractive enough for Gabe, Maddie, and that's my final assessment. What? What are you talking about? You don't even know me. You can't just say something like that and expect me to take it seriously. Oh, I'm being completely serious. Gabe is an attractive, successful man with a bright future ahead of him. He deserves someone who matches his level, someone who compliments him, and unfortunately, that someone isn't you. You're not going to be marrying my childhood friend. Wait, you can't just make decisions like that. Does Gabe even know you're saying these things? Did he really ask you to come here and break off your engagement? Of course he did. Gabe and I have known each other for a long time, and he trusts me. I'm only doing what he asked me to do. No, this can't be happening. Gabe would never want something like this. We've been in love for 2 years. We've been through so much together. We've built a life, and he proposed to me because he wanted us to be together. He wouldn't just throw all of that away because of what you think. Well, sometimes people change their minds. Maybe Gabe realized that you're not the right person for him after all. Maybe he felt like something was missing. This isn't fair. You can't just come in here, make these ridiculous claims, and expect me to roll over and accept it. Gabe and I love each other. That's what matters most. Love isn't everything, Maddie. Sometimes love just isn't enough. You have to be compatible in every aspect of life. And honestly, you and Gabe just don't seem to fit together. What do you mean by that? How can you say that when you barely know me? Look at your lives. Gabe is a successful, ambitious man who lives in a beautiful, spacious apartment. He's on track to have an amazing career and a wonderful future. And then there's you. You don't really fit into that picture, do you? Wait, how do you know about our apartment? Have you been there? Of course. I had to see where Gabe was living and make sure it was up to my standards. I can't just let him live anywhere, you know? This is unbelievable. You've crossed every line imaginable. You went behind my back, invaded my privacy, and now you're trying to destroy my relationship. Oh, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. I just wanted to see what kind of place you were living in. And honestly, it's a gorgeous apartment. I think I'd look much better living there than you. You're insane. This isn't your life to interfere with. Gabe and I are happy together, and nothing you say is going to change that. How about this? Gabe and I will be moving forward with our wedding plans, and you can watch the engagement announcement if you'd like. Absolutely not. I refuse to be part of this farce. And for the record, I haven't agreed to any of this. Gabe and I are still engaged, and we're going to work through this. I'm not giving up on him just because you showed up with your ridiculous opinions. Oh, Maddie, you're so stubborn. If you really loved him, you'd want what's best for him. And right now, what's best for him is someone who can support him and match his ambitions. That person isn't you. I'm leaving for now, but this isn't over. I'll be speaking to Gabe directly about all of this, and we'll see what he has to say. Fine, go ahead. In the meantime, I'll be continuing with the wedding plans. Gabe and I will move forward, and you'll just have to deal with it.
Maddie, are you at Gabe's house right now? How's it going? Do you think you've made a good impression on his parents?
Oh, Dad. Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I know it's probably a nerve-wracking experience, but listen, just be yourself. You don't need to put on any kind of act or try too hard. As long as you show them your true self, things will be fine. And don't forget, your mom is watching over you from heaven. She'd be so proud.
Dad, how was it for you when you had to meet Mom's parents?
Oh, I was a nervous wreck. Honestly, I barely even remember how it went because I was so tense. I think I tried to drink a little to ease the nerves, but even then, I don't think it helped all that much.
That sounds like you, Dad. You're the same now as you were back then, huh?
Yeah, I guess some things never change, but really I'll always be grateful to your mom's parents. They were so kind to me. They accepted me even when I didn't have much to offer.
What do you mean by that?
Well, back then I wasn't exactly holding down a steady job, remember? I was still struggling to get my career going.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it wasn't until you were about to start elementary school that I finally got myself together and started earning a stable income. Those early years were rough, but we got through them.
Wow, I guess I never realized that. I don't really remember much from when I was that young.
Well, that's a good thing. It means I did my job as a father, right? The fact that you don't remember the tough times means we kept things stable for you. Now look at you on the verge of getting married. Time really flies, doesn't it?
Come on, Dad. Don't say it like that. You're making yourself sound like an old man. I still haven't even had the chance to repay you for everything you've done.
Repay me? What are you talking about, Maddie?
I mean for everything. You know, after Mom passed away, you raised me all by yourself. You gave up so much, and I haven't even begun to give anything back.
Maddie, you don't owe me anything. I'm your father. Raising you was my responsibility, my duty. You don't need to thank me for that.
But still, I feel like I should. And Gabe, well...
And what about Gabe?
I mean, you've been so accepting of him too. You welcomed him into our lives without any hesitation. I feel like I should be thanking you for that as well.
There's no need for that. The decision to accept Gabe into our family was mine to make, and it was the right one. You don't need to worry yourself about it.
I guess so.
Of course. And anyway, the next big step is for Gabe to come over to our house and officially introduce himself, right? We'll have to make sure to give him a proper welcome. Just let me know once you two set a date for that.
Actually, about that, it might be a little bit more complicated than we thought.
What do you mean? Is something wrong?
Yeah, there's a chance that the engagement might not happen after all.
What? Are you serious? You two seemed so happy together. What happened?
It's a long story, but let me explain. Why don't you just accept the fact that the engagement is over? The sooner you do, the sooner we can all move on with our lives. Accept it? How am I supposed to accept anything when Gabe won't even talk to me? He hasn't come home in days. Well, of course he hasn't. Gabe's been staying at my family's house. That's where he's living now. So, Gabe's really already made up his mind, hasn't he? That's what I've been telling you this whole time. You're not getting married to Gabe. It's over. What? Why? How did things end up like this? Just the other day, everything was fine between us. We were so happy. Well, since you're so desperate to know, I'll tell you the reason. So, there really is a reason for all of this? Of course. You see, Gabe has been in love with me for years. What? That's right. Ever since we were kids, Gabe's had feelings for me. But I never really paid much attention to him. I mean, we were close as childhood friends, sure, but I didn't see him as anything more. I just wasn't interested in him romantically at the time. But then, why now? Why suddenly decide to get involved with Gabe? Well, recently, I found out that Gabe had landed a job at a major, well-known company here. Not only that, but he's doing really well, rising through the ranks quickly. He's definitely on the fast track to success. And what does that have to do with anything? Isn't it obvious? If I'm going to marry someone, I want a man who is successful, someone who can provide and make good money. And now, Gabe has proven himself to be exactly that kind of man. He finally met my standards. So, you just decided to swoop in and steal him from me? Watch your mouth. It's not stealing. Gabe has always been in love with me. He only started dating you because I wasn't available. You were the consolation prize, Maddie. He settled for you because he thought he couldn't have me. But now that he's on the rise and I've shown interest, of course he's going to drop you. That's why this engagement fell apart so easily. I see. So that's what's been happening this whole time. Glad you're finally catching on. So now that you know the truth, it's time for you to gracefully step aside. Accept the engagement's end and move on. That's really all you can do now. It's the least you could do, don't you think? I understand now. I've been betrayed by both you and Gabe for who knows how long. Oh, don't be so dramatic. There's no betrayal here. If anything, you should be grateful. Gabe gave you attention when you didn't deserve it. He even proposed to you. You should be thanking us for the time you got to spend with him. Thank you? For what? For playing with my emotions? For making me believe that Gabe and I had a future together? I don't think so. I'm not just going to let this slide. I will not let you get away with this so easily. Huh. And what exactly do you think you can do, Maddie? What power do you have in the situation?
Eddie, can you just move out of the apartment already?
Seriously? That's the first thing you say after not contacting me for so long? I can't believe you.
I don't really care what you think of me. The place is gonna be where Winter and I live from now on. It's inconvenient for us if you keep hanging around there. Besides, we're getting married soon. I was thinking of sending you an invitation. Would you like that?
Why on earth would I want to celebrate your wedding? Do you really think that I would ever want to congratulate the two of you after everything?
Oh, is that so? Fine by me, but from now on, stay out of our lives, okay? I want to forget about you as quickly as possible.
Fine, I'll make sure of that.
Good, that's what I like to hear.
Can you tell Winter the same thing? I don't want to hear from either of you again. No more contact.
Don't worry, I'm pretty sure she has no intention of reaching out to you, but just to make sure, I'll pass along the message.
I appreciate that.
You thought you were gonna marry me, didn't you? Too bad it didn't turn out that way. Better luck next time. Anyway, see you around.
What's the meaning of this? What are you talking about, all of a sudden? I thought we agreed not to have any more contact. Don't play dumb with me. I just heard that Gabe got fired from his job because of you. What's going on? How could you do something like this? Did you hear that from Gabe? Of course I did. He's been depressed ever since it happened. Depressed? Why would he be depressed? This was something he should have seen coming from a mile away. What's that supposed to mean? What does your father's company have to do with this? Did you have something to do with it? Gabe got fired from the company I work for. What? And the president of that company happens to be my father? You've got to be kidding me. I wouldn't lie about something like this. But just to be clear, Gabe wasn't actually fired. His job offer was simply rescinded before he officially started. He wasn't even an employee yet, so it's not a firing in the technical sense. That's not what Gabriel told me. He made it sound completely different. He probably exaggerated the story because he didn't want you to think less of him. Gabe was fired from his previous job. After that, my father found out that he was unemployed and wasn't keen on the idea of me marrying someone without a steady job. That's why, out of consideration for me, my father pulled some strings and offered Gabe a position at our company. Even if that's true, you can't just revoke a job offer like that. It's illegal. You must have said something to your father that made him do it, didn't you? I didn't say anything unnecessary. I just told my father the truth about what was going on. I gave him an honest report about everything. Fine, if that's the case, then I'll just speak to your father directly. I'll straighten this whole mess out myself. Do you really think you're capable of doing that? Yes, I do. Gabe gave me your father's contact information, and I'm going to call him right away. I'll clear up all these misunderstandings, and Gabe will get his job back. Mark my words. Sure, go ahead if you feel like you need to, but I doubt my father will believe anything you have to say. We'll see about that. Don't think for a second that this is over. I won't just sit back and let you ruin Gabe's career over some petty jealousy. I'll make sure he gets that job. You really believe that? You actually think my father would reconsider Gabe's position just because you call him? My father doesn't make decisions on a whim, especially when it comes to business, but feel free to try. Huh, you'll regret this. I'll just show you how wrong you are. I'm not letting this go without a fight. Alright then, good luck with that. Don't you mock me? We'll see who has the last laugh. Nice to meet you. I'm Winter.
Oh, and who might you be?
I'm Gabe's childhood friend.
Ah, Gabe's friend, I see.
Actually, I heard that Gabe had his job offer rescinded.
Yes, that's true. You see, originally there was a plan to hire him because he was going to marry Maddie. But since that engagement fell through, so did the job offer.
In fact, the reason the engagement fell through is because of Maddie.
Wait, what? My daughter?
That's right. Maddie has been treating Gabe poorly ever since she learned he was unemployed. It turns out that she's been involved with a number of other guys, which has caused Gabe a lot of distress. Despite that, he was still thinking about marriage, but eventually he just couldn't handle it anymore, leading to the engagement being called off. So, all of this is Maddie's fault. Please reconsider the job offer for Gabe. Don't put him in a worse situation than he's already in.
I see. So Maddie is the problem?
Yes, that's exactly it.
You mentioned that Maddie treated Gabe poorly because he was unemployed.
Yes, that's correct. I've received numerous complaints from him about it.
And despite all that, Maddie still came to our company to plead for Gabe's employment? So what was it that she came to me and the HR team to request? Did she really beg for us to hire Gabe despite all that?
So that's how it was?
Indeed. And to think Gabe was the one who dismissed those feelings from such a daughter. Of course, you're just as guilty in this situation.
I see you're aware of my involvement.
It's obvious. Did you really think you could deceive me? Don't underestimate me.
I didn't intend to.
Anyway, I have no intention of hiring Gabe at all. From what I've heard, his attitude was so bad at his previous job that he was let go. There's no way I would hire someone like that without Maddie's influence. It seems Gabe didn't realize that. In any case, please refrain from contacting either me or my daughter moving forward.
But wait, you don't understand.
What could I possibly not understand? Gabe is an unreliable worker who couldn't keep a job. I don't have time to waste on people like him.
But you don't understand how hard he has tried. He's been through so much.
Tried? Hard work doesn't mean anything if you can't maintain professionalism. If he had any true ambition, he would have made it work. Instead, he's just a failure looking for someone to blame.
But you need to hear the whole story. It's not fair to judge him without knowing what he's been through.
The story doesn't change the facts. Employment is about performance and behavior. If he failed in those areas, then that's not my concern.
Please, listen. Gabe has been going through a lot since Maddie ended things. She pushed him to the edge. He was at his lowest when he got the job offer.
That might be true, but it doesn't change the outcome. It sounds like he has some personal issues that he needs to sort out. A workplace isn't a therapy session.
I know that, but the job meant everything to him. It was his chance to finally start fresh.
And how do you think it looks for our company to hire someone who has a history of being let go? Do you really think anyone would want to take that risk?
But he was trying to turn his life around. You can't just throw him away like that.
Look, I appreciate your enthusiasm for Gabe, but this is a business decision. If he doesn't fit, he doesn't fit. It's that simple.
But if he doesn't get this opportunity, what's going to happen to him?
That's not my concern. His life choices are his own to navigate. I'm not obligated to take pity on him just because he's in a rough spot.
This is just cruel. He deserves a chance to prove himself.
Maybe, but not at the expense of our company's reputation. If Gabe truly had the qualities to succeed, he would have managed to keep his previous job. It's really as straightforward as that.
So, what are you saying? You'll let him suffer?
I'm saying that this isn't a charity. If you truly want to help Gabe, maybe suggest he works on his issues before he comes back looking for a job.
Please Damn it. It looks like Gabe really isn't getting hired. That's right. Can you please give up? He was talking about a big company and a path to promotion? Don't direct that at me. If you were his childhood friend, you should be able to see through the lies by now. Shut up! Don't talk down to me like that. I have to think seriously about what's coming next. I don't have time to waste talking to you. Wait a moment. You're living in that apartment now, aren't you? Yeah, so what? You need to move out of there immediately. Huh? Why should I have to do that? I've already canceled the lease for that apartment. Huh? Why would you do that? That place is quite a luxury apartment, right? There's no way unemployed Gabe can afford the rent there. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I was the one paying for that apartment. It seems that Gabe told you he was handling it himself. How many lies is he going to keep telling? That just shows how much he liked you. Being loved that much is also a happy thing, you know? That doesn't mean anything. It's worthless to be loved by a useless, unemployed guy. That was your choice, so don't be mad at me. At the very least, I loved Gabe, whether he was unemployed or not. Until you showed up, that is. Do I really have to leave this apartment? Of course. What is this? Come on, you can just live at your parents' house. Well, actually, we had planned to have a party at my place before getting married. Can't I stay in this apartment just until then? That's impossible. You have to leave immediately. Otherwise, the landlord will be troubled. If you want to throw a grand party, do it at your family's home. I guess I have no choice. It looks like I'll be living at my parents' house for a while again. Yes, please get along with Gabe while you're at it. No way! I'm breaking up with him! What? Why? Isn't it obvious? I'm not such a fool as to marry someone who has no prospects. Besides, we only got engaged. I can just break it off. Are you serious about that? Will Gabe accept it? I don't care what that loser thinks. I can just tell him that you should be the one marrying him. Please don't. I don't even want to see Gabe's face anymore. Oh, look at that. We finally agree on something. Also, I can assure you that I'm quite popular, so even if it's not him, I'll find another rich guy and marry him. Well, that's not really for me to comment on, is it? Huh. Well then, this is where our conversations end. Goodbye. Oh, wait. There's one more thing I need to tell you. What is it? I'm thinking of suing Gabe over this broken engagement. Really? Yes, I intend to claim compensation for emotional distress. Do as you wish. And I will also be suing you. Huh? Me too? Of course. You took Gabe from me, so I'm going to request compensation from you as well. Wait a second. Please don't sue me. I can't let you off without facing consequences. You know, I was deceived by Gabe too. Huh? What do you mean by that? I didn't know he was dating you. Gabe was two-timing us both. And then suddenly, when it came to marriage, he revealed your existence to me. I never intended to take Gabe away from you. Please believe me? No, I can't believe you. What you're saying contradicts what you told me when you were at Gabe's house. Also, if you were deceived, you should be angry at Gabe, just like I was. But you were looking down on me with that relaxed attitude. I can't believe you didn't know. Well, I quit my job because I was going to marry Gabe. So financially, it's been really tough for me. I can't afford to pay any damages. I don't care. You'll pay somehow, even if it means working part-time or whatever. Are you serious? Of course. I have a connection with a skilled lawyer, so I plan to hire them. From now on, you will need to communicate with that lawyer. You're kidding! Why am I going through this? It's your own doing. Didn't you realize that a guy who would switch allegiances with just a little attention while having a fiancé is no good? You may be popular with men, but you clearly have no judgment. Well, you're the same. Yes, so thanks to you, I was able to see Gabe's true nature. For that, I'm grateful. Well, wait, then. But that doesn't change anything. I see. So there's no chance of reconsideration for you? That's impossible. I will thoroughly fight against you and Gabe, who trampled on my feelings. Prepare for that. What a mess this all is. I can't believe it's come to this point. It feels surreal. Just a few weeks ago, everything seemed fine. Gabe and I were planning our future together. I was so excited about our engagement, about getting married and starting a life together. But now, look at this chaos. I can't just let it go without a fight. Hey Dad, can I get the contact information for that lawyer we talked about?
But are you sure about this? You'll have to face them again. It could get really complicated, you know.
It's fine. I've thought about it a lot, and I need to retaliate for everything that's happened. This isn't just going to slide. I can't let them get away with treating me like this.
Is that so? You're really set on this, huh? But you do realize that this could lead to a lot of stress and confrontation, right?
Yeah, but I feel bad for putting you in this position. I know it's not easy for you either, having to deal with all of this drama. But I have to stand up for myself now. I just can't let them think they can walk all over me.
Me? Why's that? You're the one who's been wronged here. I just want to make sure you're okay.
You've said you wanted to see your grandchild soon, but now that's all been postponed. And I can't help but feel like this whole situation is getting in the way of our future.
Oh, I see. I guess I was putting some weird pressure on you without realizing it. But you know, I don't really mean it that way. All I truly wish for is your happiness. I want to support you in whatever decision you make.
Thanks, Dad. I'll make sure to date someone more reliable next time. No more of this mess. I deserve better, and I know that now.
Well, if you can take this failure and use it as a lesson for the future, that's all I can ask for. Just promise me you won't let it get you down too much.
Yeah, I'll do that. I promise. I'm going to come out of this stronger, and I won't forget what I've learned. Winter found themselves in a precarious situation after being hit with a significant compensation claim. The stress of financial obligations and emotional turmoil turned their lives upside down, leading them down a difficult path that neither had anticipated. The pressure was mounting, and the weight of their decisions began to bear heavily on their shoulders. Winter swiftly decided to end her engagement with Gabe, realizing that staying together under such dire circumstances would only complicate matters further. With a heavy heart, she moved back to her family home, hoping that returning to her roots would offer her some semblance of stability amid the chaos that had enveloped her life. As Winter settled back into her family home, she thought that perhaps the familiarity of her childhood environment would provide her with comfort. However, the emotional fallout from the engagement's abrupt end lingered, making it challenging for her to adjust. She felt a profound sense of loss, both for her relationship with Gabe and for the life she had envisioned with him. Memories of happier times flooded her mind, contrasting sharply with the harsh reality of her current situation. In her heart, Winter hoped that with time, the wounds would heal and she could start anew, but the journey ahead seemed daunting. Meanwhile, Gabe was adamant about not recognizing the annulment of their engagement. He held on to the belief that their relationship still had the potential to be salvaged, launching a long and drawn-out legal battle that quickly became bitter and emotionally draining for both of them. The courtroom transformed into a battleground for their unresolved issues and grievances, where both parties aired their frustrations and disappointments. Neither was willing to back down, and the conflict intensified with each passing day. The courtroom drama took a toll on both Winter and Gabe, leading them to question their choices and the very nature of their relationship. With each hearing, they were forced to confront the pain they had inflicted on one another, and it became increasingly clear that their love story had taken a dark turn. Friends and family watched the unfolding drama with a mix of concern and disbelief, unsure of how it would all resolve. The situation was becoming a public spectacle, and the pressure from outside sources only added to their struggles. In the midst of all this turmoil, Winter realized that she had an obligation to start repaying the compensation she owed. Desperate for a way out, she turned to her previous workplace, hoping to return to her former position and regain some financial stability. She believed that doing so would provide her with a quick fix to her mounting problems. However, her attempts were met with a cold and firm rejection. The company was simply not in a position to accommodate her request for reinstatement. Winter's heart sank as she realized that her dreams of returning to the comfort of her old job were dashed, leaving her feeling more hopeless than ever. Feeling increasingly despondent, Winter decided to reach out to her parents for help. She pleaded with them to assist her in covering the substantial compensation she owed, hoping that they would understand the gravity of her situation. However, her parents, already burdened with their own financial struggles, informed her that they were unable to provide any support. Their words stung, leaving Winter feeling abandoned and alone in her fight. This realization hit her hard, forcing her to come to terms with her new reality. With no other options available, she reluctantly accepted the situation and took up part-time work to begin repaying the debt that loomed over her. Taking on part-time jobs was not what Winter had envisioned for her life, but she knew it was necessary to stay afloat. The work was often physically demanding and emotionally draining, yet she persevered, determined to make ends meet. Winter found herself juggling multiple jobs, working late into the night and waking up early to make the most of her limited time. Each paycheck provided a small sense of relief, but it was never enough to fully alleviate the weight of her debt. With every passing day, she felt the pressure mount, pushing her further into a cycle of stress and anxiety. In a desperate attempt to turn her life around, Winter embarked on a search for a wealthy partner who could potentially rescue her from her dire financial situation. She hoped to find someone who would not only help her regain her footing, but also offer her a lavish lifestyle that she once enjoyed. Her friends encouraged her, suggesting that finding a rich partner could be the solution to all her problems. Winter attended various social events, hoping to meet someone who would sweep her off her feet and provide her with the security she craved. However, as the pressure mounted, the stress began to take its toll on her physically and emotionally. The once flawless beauty that had drawn many men to her began to deteriorate, leading to a decline in her self-esteem. Winter's once vibrant appearance became shadowed by dark circles under her eyes, and the signs of exhaustion etched on her face. She struggled to maintain the facade of confidence, but inside, she felt like a shell of her former self. The pressures of her life were relentless, and each rejection stung deeper than the last. Unfortunately for Winter, as her appearance faded, so did her prospects. The men she had hoped to attract with her charm and beauty began to overlook her. She found herself increasingly isolated, with very few men interested in pursuing a relationship with her. The combination of financial strain and the loss of her former beauty left her feeling desolate and alone. It seemed that no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't escape her current predicament. Winter felt like she was trapped in a cycle of disappointment, struggling to find a way out while wrestling with her self-worth. Now, Winter was left with the harsh reality of working various part-time jobs just to scrape by, struggling to make ends meet while feeling the weight of her past decisions. Each day was a battle, and she often found herself reflecting on how she had ended up in this situation. The dreams she once had seemed so distant, and the future appeared bleak. Despite her efforts, it felt as though she was running on a treadmill, expending all her energy but getting nowhere. Meanwhile, Gabe's situation was no better. Unable to pay the required compensation, he found himself resorting to taking on substantial debts. His once promising career quickly crumbled under the weight of his financial obligations. He became increasingly overwhelmed by his circumstances. As his financial situation worsened, he spiraled into a state of despair. The burden of debt and the pressure of his unresolved legal issues compounded his problems, creating a perfect storm of stress and anxiety. Gabe felt trapped in a cycle of despair, unsure of how to break free from the financial burdens that had taken over his life. The shame of his situation weighed heavily on him, and he often found himself isolating from friends and family who might have provided support. The emotional toll of his struggles was evident, as he battled feelings of worthlessness and regret. As for what happened to him afterward, it appeared that no one knew the specifics of his struggles or where he ended up. Gabe became a shadow of his former self, lost in a sea of financial instability and uncertainty. On my end, I made the conscious decision to channel the shock of my broken engagement into my work. Instead of allowing myself to be consumed by heartache, I committed myself to my job, determined to make something of myself in the process. I immersed myself in my responsibilities, seeking to achieve professional success and personal growth. This dedication proved to be fruitful. I not only achieved numerous results at work, but also contributed significantly to my father's company. The sense of purpose I found in my work became a refuge from the turmoil surrounding me. I poured my energy into projects and initiatives, often staying late and working weekends to ensure that I was giving my best effort. My hard work did not go unnoticed, and I began to receive recognition from my peers and superiors. This validation fueled my drive, propelling me further along my career path. With each success, I felt a renewed sense of confidence and determination, allowing me to move forward despite the pain of my broken engagement. As I look back on this experience, I find myself thinking that perhaps it's best for me to take a break from the idea of marriage for a while. My priorities shifted, and I realized that I wanted to cherish the time I had with my father, who had always been there for me through thick and thin. I found comfort in our shared moments, whether it was over a meal or during a long conversation. These interactions reinforced the importance of family in my life and helped me regain the perspective on what truly matters. I've come to understand that building a strong relationship with my father is just as important, if not more so, than pursuing romantic relationships. He has always been a pillar of support, guiding me through the challenges of life. As I dedicated myself to my career, I also made a conscious effort to spend quality time with him, cherishing the moments we shared. Our bond grew stronger as we navigated the complexities of life together, and I realized how fortunate I was to have such a caring and supportive figure in my life. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Make sure you don't cheap out on the gifts at my upcoming wedding, okay? If there isn't at least double the amount I get from the rest of my family coming from you, then I'm going to get upset. I might even make you leave my dad at that point. Jordan, I'm not sure you should be saying things like that to me right now, especially at a time like this. I understand that you might be excited about the upcoming wedding and all that, but that does not give you the right to say such things like that to me or anyone. What? I don't have a mom, though, so how am I supposed to know what to be saying? How about you tell me what I should be saying, since I've had to live my whole life with only a dad in my life? I've never had a kind mom to help me through anything like this. I have been around you all your life, though, right? And I'd been trying to act as your mother the whole time, teaching you everything I thought you'd need to know. So don't use that whole I have no mom trick on me, because I've been here for 25 years helping raise you with your father. What are you talking about? You think I've ever thought of you as my mom? Could you stop acting like you actually did anything that makes you my mom just because you were around me for a little while? I'm not trying to act like I'm your mother, though. To be honest, I've just been around your father this whole time and thought it would be kind of myself to be helpful with you. And as far as I can remember, you always did view me as your mother figure. But I suppose that was all a lie then? Which is fine, I guess, but you still need to respect me for what I've done for you. Stop acting like I should still be thinking of you that way, though. And respect you? No thanks. I'll have you know right now that I never agreed with you getting married to my dad. Like I'd ever want some useless grandma around in my life. I wonder what my dad saw in your old butt that made him think marriage was a good idea. For some reason, it's starting to seem like you're acting even worse than before. Did I do anything to you recently? I know that for the past couple of years you've grown a little distant from me, but now it's almost like you're actually trying to make me feel bad. That's because I really want for you and my dad to get a divorce. So why should I continue being nice to you when I'm trying to get you out of my life? And as for the actual wedding, I really hope you don't actually come to it. You'd ruin the vibe for everyone else there that shows up wanting to celebrate me. All of my guests would have to learn my dad got remarried to some shut-in grandma. I understand that I work from home most of the time, but I wouldn't start throwing the word shut-in around. It does not make me feel good when you call me that. Well, listen, I've been saying that about you this whole time. And to be real with you, when have I ever seen you actually working a job? Since you're always sitting in that room all day, I'm sure you're just playing video games or watching YouTube, right? Just because you're not seeing me work does not mean I'm doing other things in there. What I'm doing is not just something I need to show you, and if I leave the door open for everyone all the time, I won't be able to focus. That's probably why you've never seen what I'm actually doing in that room. But I promise you that what I'm doing is related to my job. That's what you say. Thank God my dad is such a nice man, right? If he was any more strict with you, then you'd never be able to continue playing those video games all day long, right? How about now that I'm out of the house, though, you go ahead and divorce him? You really want your father to be alone that badly? Do you think that I'm taking him away from you or something? If I say that I'm feeling that way, will you divorce him for me? I'll put some thought into it, yes. By the way, I'm already married at this point and will be going to my husband here soon. You know that, right? So since things between you and I will really be ending here, I'll let you in on one final secret. My dad, he's in love with a younger woman than you right now. She's a model, so recently the two of them have been going on quite a few dates with one another. What? What are you talking about? Oh, so you really didn't know about any of this, huh? I kind of figured that someone like you would be clueless. I know there are plenty of older women who begin to stop thinking about the world around them as they've gotten older. But in your case, you must have completely forgotten that there are, in fact, better-looking women than you out there. Would you please tell me what's going on here? Is your father really going out with another woman now? I'm honestly not too sure, so you might want to go and talk with him about it. But from my point of view, I'm kind of thinking he does have another younger woman around. Just from the way he's leaving the house in a hurry sometimes, I can tell that she's got him all tied up in herself. Dang, Julian, there really is nothing left you can do now. I see. Well, thank you for giving me a heads up. If this is really true, then I guess we're close to a divorce than I'd ever thought. But before you do get that divorce, make sure you allow me to have my wedding first. Wouldn't want to get any bad luck from you or my dad, right? Doesn't seem right to me to have my wedding after you both have cut ties. It seems that everything must be about you then. All right then, if that's what you want from me, then I'll listen. As for right now, I'm going to start getting to the bottom of things with your father.
By the way, I wanted to talk about this month's allowance. Do you think you can up it a little for me? I have Jordan's wedding and all coming up. With what little you're giving me now, it might make things a bit tough for me come time that I have to help her with the wedding costs and her gifts from me.
What are you talking about, Richard? Month after month, you've already been asking me to raise your allowance for whatever reasons you have. Are there really that many things going on in your life that require you to get more money from me?
There's nothing crazy going on here. I just happen to have a lot of work on my plate, and that leads to me getting stressed out. So I want to use that money you give me to get some fresh air and relax a little bit. You're making all kinds of money with your job, so it's not like you have anything to worry about. So how about you just give me a bit more each month in my allowance? That way things can be a little bit more fair here.
If that's how you're feeling, then how about you leave that dead-end job you have and work for a company that actually values you and pays you more? I don't want you thinking you can just take my money and play around with it all the time. But find some work yourself, and I promise you, you'll start making more money and won't have to keep asking your wife for her money.
Hey, don't say things like that. We've both been working for as long as I can remember, at least while we've been married, right? Yet you're not going to let me have anything that you've earned? I thought that by being married, we were supposed to share what we made.
I've been letting you have quite a bit of it already. The thing is, you haven't been giving me anything in return. You take all that money you make and spend it all on yourself. Everything that has to do with this house, I'm being left to pay for. And for as long as I can remember, I haven't gotten any money from you to help me out, or even as a gift to show your love and appreciation for me.
But look, Jordan is going to be leaving us soon, so you won't have to pay for her anymore, right? That means you and I can have a little more fun with our lives, right? So you shouldn't be upset about giving me a bit more to spend every month. And as for that appreciation you're seeking from me, I give it to you every day by staying with you.
A little more fun with our lives? For some reason that makes it sound like you don't want to have fun with me, but rather have fun by yourself outside of the house. Hasn't that been where all my money has gone to already that I've given you? I'm sorry, but I'm not okay with that.
Hey, what's gotten into you? You've never spoken to me like that before. What happened to you today that's made you so stingy?
I'm starting to realize that your spending is a little suspicious. Up until now, I haven't really thought anything of it, but then I was being asked for money and gifts from your daughter, and she told me that she wanted more from me than anyone else in the family.
That sounds like her. She must have gotten that kind of greedy mindset from her mother. That woman went and took all the money she could get and ran from me. Jordan must have seen her mother doing all of that and ended up loving money and things just as much as her.
And you seem to be the same way as those two.
What was that?
Whatever. Jordan, what is this all about? Where is my seat supposed to be today? Did you forget to tell the wedding staff to set my name out? Huh? I didn't forget anything today. I just made sure that there was no place for you today at this wedding. What? There's no seat here today for some fake wannabe mom like you. This wedding is only for my real family, so a stranger like you needs to get out of here. Just leave whatever gifts and money you brought for me up front and go home. You made sure to bring me a lot of things today, right? Fake wannabe mom. Up until this very day, I have done so much to support you, yet after all of that, this is how I'm treated? You just supported me out of your own desires. I never asked you for a single thing, right? If you're going to throw a fit about how unfairly you think you've been treated, how about you go outside and do it? We wouldn't want the security in this building to have to come and carry you out for causing a ruckus, right? But if that's what you really want, then go ahead and start crying. I see. So this is really how things are going to be? That's right. And right now it seems your father doesn't care about what's happening to me and is laughing while I stand here patiently waiting. He told me already that you're the bride today and that if you don't want me here, there is nothing else I can do. He seems to think you want him to be alone today, and that makes him laugh out of happiness. Awesome! Dad is so cool. Why did I ever decide to stick my neck out for you guys all this time? Don't worry, because you don't have to do anything for us anymore. Now shut up and get out of here. Or else I seriously will have the security team come and carry you out. You're not supposed to be here today, so get! All right, I'm going then. And if you regret what you've done later on, I'm not going to listen to you whine. You think anything's going to change today by you not being here? Stop thinking that you're all that important to any of us. I'm cutting ties to you today. Goodbye forever, you useless grandma. Understood. I'll make sure to have these divorce papers handed in today. That will be my wedding gift to you. Seriously? Thank you. Now I really can say goodbye forever to you. Hey, what's going on here? I'm being told that the wedding is now being canceled? They're asking everyone to leave the wedding hall now. Who is this? Oh, stop playing dumb, you idiot. I'm your daughter, Jordan. I don't have a daughter, though. You're really going to start telling crappy jokes like that now? Why are things turning out like this now? I never told anyone that I wanted my wedding canceled. Well, don't worry, because I did. Huh? What does that mean? How could you have canceled my wedding? Well, I was the one who went and paid for the whole wedding. What? And since that wedding I paid for would not be seating me, I chose to have it canceled. I have no idea what you're talking about. This whole wedding was all paid for by my dad. What the hell are you going on about? And now that you say that, I'm sure that's how he explained things to you. But unfortunately, whatever your father was telling you was a lie. In reality, I was the one that paid for every little thing related to the wedding today. What? Are you being serious? Well, yes, of course I'm being serious. Isn't the fact that your wedding is being canceled right now clear enough evidence of that? Why? If you're really the one who paid for everything, then why did Dad lie to me about it? That's because your father wants you to continue liking him and would rather you like him than me. And, well, that led to him trying to show off so that you'd stay with him instead of coming to me. Well, it's too bad things had to end this way because now you're going to find out how poor of a father he really is. No way, you have to be lying. I just went and asked Dad about this and he won't say a word to me now. I'm sure he won't. Because no matter how much he's tried to fake being the man of the house, the only true man of the house with all the power and money was me. That man can't do anything by himself, and you'll soon realize that. You have all the power and money, but the one making the most money is Dad, right? No, that would be me. Honestly, with your father, he's already been trying his best just to stay alive. And that's with the help of me giving him a monthly allowance. Huh? What does that mean? I've never heard anything about that at all. And that's because you never care to listen to what anyone has to say to you. I have talked about this many times now, about how I happen to work a very important job from home and that I'm the one paying for everything in the home. And I have made sure that every time you tried to say I was only in my room playing games, that I am actually in there working diligently. Yet you never listened to any of those words I said and continued to believe in that lie you made up about me. So don't get upset with me that you chose to live in your false reality. Are you really making all that money from home? Well, I sort of had the idea that you'd been working a little bit in that room, but I just assumed that you were only making enough to support your hobby of gaming. Well, you never actually cared about anything I was up to and would always leave the house to go out and mess around. That's why you have no idea what kind of things I was doing for work. But I was always getting my allowance from Dad. I know, and all of that money was coming from me. But your father wanted to make sure, no matter what, that you never found out about that. So I had to keep it a secret for so long that I was the one who really handled all her money to the family. Why would you keep all of that a secret? Because if I were to say anything, then your father would have been destroyed, right? He wanted to seem like this really cool father in front of you, and during those times I was in love with him. So I had to give in to what he wanted and keep everything a secret with him. Wait, Dad is starting to get really upset right now. He wants to know why you'd start talking about all of that. He's telling me to tell you that all of that has nothing to do with my wedding. What? Oh, such a loser. So that's all he has to say about what's going on? What do you think of him, Jordan? Do you really still find your father to be a really cool guy after he went and kept all of this stuff about his income and money to you a secret? I really want to get pissed off at him right now, and what he's done is totally uncool and makes me want to say goodbye to him forever, too. Why have I respected my dad so much all this time? Right? I was thinking that myself, and that's why I gave up on keeping that secret from you. So there you go. That's why I've told you the truth, yet it seems your father still wants to keep the truth hidden from you. I get it now. I get it all now, so you can come back here. You can come back here and join my wedding as long as you tell all of the staff it won't be canceled. You really think something as wonderful as that is going to happen for you? I told you already that I'm going to get this divorce, right? I knew something like this was going to happen today, so I made sure to prepare in advance. That's why all of your things are out of the house now, and I'll go ahead and toss them for you, okay? What? What are you talking about now? Wait, does this mean the house is also... That's right, my name is on the house. I've been the one renting the house this whole time, and pretty soon here I'm going to be moving out. I've really wanted to get myself a proper office for work, and so I was thinking it'd be best to get myself an office and then set up a bed in there to sleep. I'll have the lock and everything changed to the house so both you and your father can stay out of it now. Wait a second. Things are going way too quickly for me. I never heard about any of that either. Aren't you being a real jerk right now, tossing all my things out of the house like that? Wasn't all of this what you wanted, though? I am giving you the gift of a divorce between myself and your father, yet you're going to get all upset about it now? You don't have to divorce Dad anymore. Please come back here. You have to do something about what's going on here. All of the groom's family is getting really upset with me now and are threatening to take him away from me. Wow, sucks to be you then, I suppose. Too bad that I don't care. Honestly, I'm sure they're all happy to learn about the true person you and your father are before having the wedding. They're probably thankful for what I've done. Shut the hell up! Do you have any idea what this will do to my life? You think I care about some complete stranger's life? Be happy that I gave up 25 years of my life supporting you and your father. Be thankful for all that. I understand, and I am very thankful for all you've done. Thank you so much for everything, Mom. So please come back here now. I don't ever remember being your ATM, all right? So stop it with all of that fake appreciation for me and get real. Really, do you have any idea how much I've done with your father? Always needing me to do everything for him, even going as far as asking me to pay for your whole wedding, and then on the day of, stabbing me in the back. I think the both of you need to spend some quality time in hell for this. Don't say things like that. I'm not kidding when I say that right now things are really crazy. Dad's girlfriend just showed up to the wedding. She just started to tell him about how back in the day she did some things with his older brother. He knew about how she used to work as a prostitute and would take advantage of her all the time. Oh, she's talking about that stuff now? I knew there was something wrong with her. But to think she did something as wild as that with his brother. What? Do you know her? After you gave me a few hints about how your father was cheating on me, I decided to delve into it a little bit more. I got my lawyer involved and we hired an investigator to have a look at what was going on with your father and her. We needed to know about who she was and what she was up to. You went and did something like that? And as for the allowance I was handing your father each and every month, most of it was going to that woman and the time he spent with her. I want all of that money back that I wasted on him, so I'll make sure this settlement I get from him is huge. Settlement? You thought I'd just skip all of the fun? I know about how he's been with her for the longest time now, cheating on me. And, well, cheating on me while married gives me the ability to take action against him. I'm still in the talks with my lawyer, so please give me just a few more days. Wait, this can't be happening. Dad doesn't even have the money to pay you back. You think I care about him having the money or not? If he doesn't, then he'd better start moving his ass and making that money for me. We're being asked to pay for the rest of this wedding now. We don't have that kind of money on us. Please come here and do something about this, Mom. Who is this mom you're talking about? You would never be calling some stranger that, right? You and I have cut ties completely now. So would you shut your mouth and let me have the peace of being free from you both that I deserve? Please don't say things like that, Mom. I'll apologize to you for everything my dad and I have done. Don't abandon the both of us at a time like this. Up until a few days ago, I had been trying my best not to be bothered by everything your father and you were doing and just focus on my work. But now that I think about it, I should have gotten rid of both of you long ago before things came to this. Now, I've told you what this divorce is, right? It's that present you asked me for before your wedding that's better than anything anyone else will give you, right? And you losing your wedding and going into debt with your father is something I believe suits the both of you well. So please take that next step forward and fall into the hell you've created for yourself. After everything that happened, the rest of the groom's family had had enough of Jasmine, and they all began walking out of the wedding hall, officially ending the event that Jasmine had been so excited for. For her, this was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, but it had turned into an absolute disaster. The sight of the guests leaving, one by one, was something I'd never forget. The once vibrant and joyous atmosphere had quickly transformed into one of awkwardness and tension as the last of the groom's family made their way to the doors. In the midst of it all, Jasmine tried to salvage what little dignity she had left, but it was clear that the day had spiraled out of control and nothing could save her at that point. Jasmine had previously claimed that she was already married to her fiancé. She said it just to make me feel worse, like there was some deep reason for her to abandon me, for me to feel the sting of her leaving even more acutely. But I knew that it was just a lie. She said it to manipulate me, trying to get under my skin and making me question everything I had ever believed about our relationship. Of course, in the back of my mind, I knew it was nothing more than an attempt at emotional manipulation. She wasn't married to anyone else. She was just playing games, pretending like she had some great new life ahead of her, knowing full well she had no future to go to once this whole sham of a wedding came crumbling down. As the rest of the groom's guests continued filing out of the hall, Jasmine's own guests began to leave as well. The wedding she had been so excited for was officially over, and there was no hiding it anymore. The hall, once full of life and chatter, had now become a shell of what it once was. All that was left was Jasmine and Carter standing there in the middle of it all, surrounded by the wedding staff who were asking for the remainder of the payment. The air in the room was thick with tension, and it was clear that this was not the way things were supposed to go. The staff was insistent the remaining balance of $5,000 still had to be paid, but neither Jasmine nor Carter had the means to cover it. The whole situation was falling apart at the seams. Jasmine, in a desperate attempt to save face, wrote a check for the amount, knowing fully well that it would bounce in a couple of days. She knew the trouble it would cause. It was clear that she didn't care about the consequences. She was more concerned with the immediate embarrassment she would face if she couldn't come up with the money on the spot. But even that wasn't going to work. The check would be worthless, and the consequences would be worse than she could imagine. By the time Jasmine and Carter arrived back at the house after the wedding, they were both in for yet another shock. Everything they owned had been thrown out into the yard. The doors were locked, just as I said they would be. They were effectively locked out of the house, and they thought they would still have a place in. Their world was crumbling down around them, and they had nowhere left to turn. I wasn't even there at the time, but I watched everything unfold through my doorbell camera. It was almost like watching a train wreck in slow motion. They sat outside for hours, begging to be let inside. They pleaded, tried to reason with me, and I wasn't interested in listening. I didn't care about what they had to say. I wasn't going to let them back into the house. They were reaping what they had sowed. They had manipulated, lied, and hurt me, and now it was time for them to face the consequences of their actions. Eventually they gave up, their voices hoarse from shouting and pleading. They walked away, but before they left, they had one final heated argument. They screamed at each other, blaming one another for everything that had gone wrong. Jasmine blamed Carter for not stepping up, and Carter blamed Jasmine for everything that had led them to this point. It was a vicious back and forth of accusations and anger. After a while, they both ran out of energy and ran off, completely defeated. In the days that followed, they moved into a cheap apartment. The place was bare, no furniture, nothing but what they had left from their old life. It was a sad, pathetic sight. I knew they had nothing to their name. They were living in a place that could barely be called a home, trying to put together a life that was already falling apart. But I didn't care. They deserved it. Not long after, my lawyer visited them, letting Carter know that the divorce had been finalized. Carter and I were officially exes. It was over. There was no turning back, but along with the divorce papers came a reminder of the settlement Carter owed me. He was given 3 months to pay the amount, or I would take him to court and raise the amount I was asking for. I wasn't sure he would be able to get the money together, but it didn't matter to me anymore. The settlement was a small price to pay for all the pain they had caused me. The truth was I didn't need the money. I already had more than enough to live comfortably, and I knew that Carter and Jasmine would never be able to get anywhere near what I had. The divorce was already a victory in my eyes, and the money was just a small bonus in the long run. It would help me move on, but it wasn't going to define me. The real win was being free from them. As time went on, Jasmine and Carter both came to regret their actions. They regretted not appreciating me, not realizing that all I had done for them. They sat in that tiny, empty apartment crying about what they had lost. They would never have what I had. They would never know the peace and freedom that I now had. But that didn't concern me. They deserved everything they were going through, and I wasn't going to waste any more time thinking about them. In the end, it was just karma catching up with them, and I had no doubt that when the wedding hall found out about the bounced check, they would go after Jasmine and Carter, adding yet another layer of misery to their already ruined lives. They would have a new kind of hell to live in, and I couldn't help but laugh at the thought of it. As for myself, I reached a point where I knew I had to let go of the past entirely. Ending the lease on the house I had rented was the first step toward closing that chapter of my life. It was more than just a decision about a place to live. It was symbolic, a way to finally move on from all the negative memories that had accumulated there. The house, once a space I had thought of as a home, had turned into a constant reminder of the pain, betrayal, and emotional toll I had suffered at the hands of those I had once called family. Every corner, every room held echoes of arguments, manipulations, and broken promises. It was clear to me that the house no longer had a place in my future. I wasn't interested in staying in a place that had been tainted by the past, and I decided to make a fresh start. I didn't need the space that the house had provided for me. Instead, I chose to focus on something that would give me more independence and control: my work. I ended up finding a decent-sized office space downtown, a place where I could immerse myself completely in my career and leave the wreckage of my previous life behind me. It was the perfect decision for me. It wasn't just about the physical space, but about what that space represented. It was a fresh start, a clean slate, and I was ready to make it my own. The office was spacious and well suited to my needs. It wasn't luxurious, but it had everything I needed to be comfortable and productive. There was a small kitchenette inside the office, which was a nice touch. I could grab a cup of coffee or prepare a quick meal without needing to leave the building, something that made my workdays feel more efficient. More than that, the office space was a place I could call mine. It wasn't shared with anyone else, and it didn't come with any emotional baggage attached. This was a new environment, one where I could focus entirely on what mattered most to me, my job and my future. In addition to the main office area, there was one room adjacent that had plenty of potential. The moment I saw it, I knew it could serve as a small bedroom for me. I didn't need anything extravagant, just a quiet space where I could sleep and recharge when I needed to. It was perfect for my current lifestyle, allowing me to combine both work and rest in the same place. It wasn't a permanent solution, but for the time being, it worked perfectly. I didn't need a large apartment or house to live in. What mattered was that I had a place that was mine, where I could build a routine and focus on my career without distractions. For now, this office space is where I'll be living, and I couldn't be more content with that choice. I've realized that I don't need the distractions or complications that came with living in a traditional home. Here I can channel all of my energy and attention into my work, and that's exactly what I've been doing. For far too long, I had invested so much of myself into people who didn't appreciate me, into relationships that drained me emotionally. I had poured so much of my time and energy into others that I had forgotten to invest in myself. But now, with this new space and renewed focus, I'm finally able to turn that around. My work is where my attention lies now, and it feels incredibly liberating to be able to dedicate myself entirely to something that is meaningful and rewarding. This change in focus has been transformative for me. I've found a sense of purpose and fulfillment that I never realized I was missing before. The shift from focusing on toxic, draining family dynamic to invest in my career has allowed me to grow in ways I never imagined. No longer do I have to worry about the selfishness and greed that defined my past relationships. I'm finally free to focus on my future and what I want to achieve without constantly being dragged down by people who don't care about me. I've learned that I don't need anyone's approval or validation to be happy. The family I once had was filled with selfish, manipulative individuals who took and took without ever giving back. Their priorities were always about themselves and what they could get from me, never about what I needed or wanted. They were people who never appreciated the things I did for them, never recognized the sacrifices I made, and certainly never acknowledged the love and effort I put into maintaining those relationships. They only saw me as a means to an end, and when I stopped giving, they showed their true colors. That realization has been freeing for me. The more I reflect on it, the more I understand that my life will be so much better without them. They were a weight I carried for far too long, and now that I've cut ties, I feel lighter and more at peace. It's been a slow journey, but I've learned to let go for the need of approval and acceptance from people who were never capable of giving it. In place of that, I've focused on building something for myself, something that I can be proud of. Living here in this office space is a small step in the right direction. It's not about luxury or material possessions. It's about creating a life for myself that is grounded in purpose and self-sufficiency. I no longer need to rely on others to feel validated or secure. My work is something I can control, something I can shape and mold into something meaningful. This is my time to shine, to focus on my career, and to build a future that doesn't depend on anyone but myself. And while I know that I am not where I ultimately want to be in life, I am content with where I am right now. I've made peace with the past and the choices I've made. The pain and struggles of the past no longer define me. They've become lessons, stepping stones that have helped me grow into a stronger, more independent person. I no longer feel the need to prove myself to anyone. The family I once had is a distant memory, and their actions no longer hold any power over me. Now I have the freedom to focus on my own future, and that's exactly what I plan to do. This office space, this new life, is all mine, and it's just the first step toward building something real, something lasting. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the right path. I'm not just surviving anymore, I'm thriving, and that's all that matters. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story. Ellie, don't you think you're spoiling my husband a little too much? He said he was going to meet up with his brother again, and off he went to hang out. I have my own plans, you know. It's nice that you get along, but could you at least consider my schedule once in a while? Rosa, good evening. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that happened. I don't keep track of Richard's schedule completely, so I wasn't aware. But wait, did Richard meet up with Chris? I'm really sorry, I didn't know about this. And you said again. Does that mean Richard has been seeing Chris frequently? What? Ellie, are you seriously saying you don't even know what your husband is doing? Or do you know and you're just playing dumb? No, I'm truly sorry. I honestly didn't know. I'll check with Richard to confirm. I'll also tell him to reduce how often he meets with Chris. Please do. Look, it's great that they're getting along, but I value my married life too, you know. I can't just spend all my time accommodating you people. My apologies, but to be honest, it's hard for me to believe that Richard is meeting Chris that often. Are you absolutely sure he's meeting Chris? Huh? My husband doesn't have any other brothers, does he? What, are you seriously implying that because you can't believe your husband might be hiding something from you, you're trying to pin the blame on mine? Or are you saying my husband is lying to me? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. You know, maybe Richard is actually one of those people who seems friendly on the surface, but is secretly keeping all kinds of things hidden. I don't think that's the case. You know as well as I do that Richard isn't like that, don't you? Huh? How would I know? I didn't fall in love with Richard, I fell for his older brother. What, are you trying to insult me now? No, that's not what I'm saying. Besides, if he were meeting his biological brother, there's no reason for him to hide it from me, his wife. So even if he did meet up, it's probably just that I wasn't told, and there's nothing strange about that. It's just, I find it hard to believe he's been seeing Chris so frequently. Oh, so what are you trying to say? Are you insisting that my husband is lying to me? No, I'm not saying that at all. Well, I already know the truth. My husband told me everything. Is there something I should know? It just means your husband doesn't trust you. He's keeping all sorts of things from you. You might be right. In any case, I'll make sure to tell him to cut back on how often he sees Chris.
Did you hear anything from Rosa after what happened yesterday?
No, I haven't. I was planning to just say I passed along the message if she contacted me, but, well, she's probably busy with her own life too.
Yeah, that's true. Still, why would Chris lie about meeting me? This doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah, I don't want to get too involved in this either. By the way, the last time you visited your family, you didn't meet with or talk to Chris at all, right?
Of course not. I haven't contacted him, and I haven't met with him in ages. If anything, he's just doing whatever he wants over there and using me as an excuse. I doubt his wife suspects he's been reaching out to anyone he has a grudge against.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was surprised Rosa even reached out to me. She probably didn't expect me to pick up on anything, so she thought she could use you meeting Chris as an excuse to do something. But what exactly is she planning?
Chris probably didn't think I'd contact him about this either. Well, whatever. Let him do what he wants. We're better off staying out of it. It's not worth getting dragged into their mess. If Rosa keeps pestering you, feel free to block her. Her obsession has always been unsettling, and this is no exception.
You're right. Honestly, I still feel like she holds a grudge against me.
If she does, it's completely irrational. It's creepy, which is why we've kept our distance from those two. Even my parents avoid getting involved with them as much as possible. Chris never really got along with our parents, and Rosa clearly doesn't want anything to do with her in-laws either. They've probably found a way to coexist by staying out of each other's business.
Yeah, that's true, but why now all of a sudden? So I guess the best thing to do is just avoid them altogether. If Rosa contacts me again, I'll just tell her I've passed on the message and leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hopefully she won't reach out again. Stop messing around already, you thief! When exactly do you plan on paying me back? Huh? Rosa, what are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. The other day I mentioned to my husband that I had reached out to you. Do you know what he said? He yelled at me saying, "Why are you contacting those low-life couples? Because of you two low-lives, my husband has been suffering for so long. So it's only fair that you pay compensation. You should return the money I lent you along with the damages." I seriously have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean, no idea? Stop pretending. I'm talking about the $50,000 I lent you for your daughter's wedding. You think you can just pretend it didn't happen? Well, guess what? I've already filed a police report. Wait, what? What are you even saying? I don't have a daughter. Excuse me? Are you seriously trying to deny something so fundamental now? So it was all true, huh? My husband warned me about this. He said you'd try to weasel your way out. When I asked him when you'd pay us back, he said he'd check with you, but now he's been gone for days. Don't tell me. You did something to my husband, didn't you? Wait, hold on. Calm down, okay? We seriously have no idea what you're talking about. Our daughter's wedding? We don't even have a child. How could there be a wedding? We couldn't have kids, you see? That's why we've been rescuing and raising dogs and cats as if they were our children. And $50,000? No, we've never borrowed such an amount. In fact, we've never even needed that kind of money. We're a dual-income household, and honestly, we're doing fine financially. Then where did the $50,000 that my husband took go? Like I said, we have no involvement in this at all. How would we know where your money is? But I heard you've been meeting with Richard recently. Okay, since things have escalated this much, I'll just say it outright. We haven't seen him. After you contacted me last time, I didn't bring it up again because you never followed up. But the truth is, Richard hasn't met Chris at all. In fact, they haven't seen each other in a long time. So that means your claim about Richard meeting Chris, it's a lie. What? You two aren't conspiring together, are you? Conspiring? Us? With Chris? Why on earth would we do that? For what reason? Chris has always been cunning, deceitful, and willing to take what doesn't belong to him. That's exactly why Richard has been keeping his distance from him for years. Even the in-laws didn't want anything to do with Chris, which is why we've all kept our distance from you and your husband, too. You seriously didn't notice? What? But my husband told me he was just being kind. He said it's better not to associate with the in-laws. He said there's no need to stay in touch or visit them, so I could do as I pleased. Oh, I see. Well, that sounds exactly like something Chris would say. He probably thought there was nothing good to come from you getting involved with his family, so he deliberately kept you away. Why would he do that? Well, based on how things have played out, I guess he borrowed money from you and used it for something. But he didn't want you to find out, so he made it seem like it was for family-related reasons, a perfectly justifiable excuse. Huh? Wait a minute. Are you seriously saying you two didn't receive the money? Show me proof. We didn't take it, and we haven't been in contact with him. How do you expect us to provide proof of something that never happened? Besides, the fact that we don't have a daughter is proof enough, isn't it? When my husband gets home, I'll ask him about it, but aren't you with him right now? For the last time, we haven't seen Chris in ages. Honestly, the fact that you contacted us now out of nowhere was shocking enough. We haven't even been in touch, let alone met with him. And yet here we are being accused of meeting him. It's absurd. But my husband told me this. He said you two were absolutely no good, that staying involved with you would only lead to trouble. He said not to contact you. And as for the $50,000, he told me it was because his younger brother wanted to impress his wife. He said his brother asked for the money secretly behind his wife's back. I thought, wow, Richard must be such a pathetic guy to do that. Even though he should be earning enough, he just couldn't stop gambling and chasing after women. I was honestly relieved that I didn't end up marrying Richard. Where do I even begin? It's astonishing how much of this is outright fabrication. Gambling and chasing after women? Those are literally the two things Richard despises the most. And you're telling me you believed all of this nonsense about him? That was a long time ago. Besides, my husband told me Richard changed because he married such a terrible wife. He said that's why Richard became dependent on gambling and other vices. But once they had a child, he wanted to turn things around for the child's sake. That's why he needed the money. And that's why you gave him $50,000? My husband told me he'd make sure it got paid back. He said Richard earns a good salary, so it wouldn't be an issue. I am speechless. There isn't a shred of truth in any of this. If anything, the person who can't stop gambling and chasing women is Chris, not Richard. Wait, what are you saying? Chris, years ago, spent all the money in the house, Richard's savings included, on gambling. He thought he had a surefire way to win, but ended up losing everything. He completely lost the trust of the family. To make matters worse, he started chasing after women, blowing what little money he did win on them.
That's precisely why Richard decided to keep his distance. And when we got married, you and Chris married shortly afterward. I have to say, the fact that you, who were obsessed with Richard, jumped at the chance to marry his older brother, it made all of us sick.
Excuse me? What are you even talking about? Are you sure we're talking about the same person?
Chris does put on a good front, I'll give him that. If Richard hadn't warned me about him, I probably would have thought he was a decent guy, too. But Richard made sure to caution me from the start, and I kept my guard up. And since Richard distanced himself from his brother, Chris didn't try to involve me much either. Meanwhile, you, completely oblivious, went and married Chris in a rush. I suppose it's understandable. You probably fell for him because he looks so much like Richard.
I mean, he was kind and sincere, and yes, he looked like Richard. So I thought, why not marry the brother instead? He seemed to like me, too.
Well, you were a career woman, weren't you? Chris must have seen the dollar signs. Of course, he was going to be interested, but rushing into marriage like that, this is what you get.
But I loved Richard for so long. I couldn't stand it when he married you, someone divorced no less. So I thought, if I marry his brother, I can show you up.
Hold on, I'm not divorced. Where is this even coming from?
Wait, are you saying that's another one of my husband's lies?
It all makes sense now. I thought it was strange of you to believe that we had a daughter when we clearly don't.
But he told me you were divorced and had a child. He said you were a foolish young mother who got pregnant early, was abandoned by the father, and irresponsibly decided to raise the child alone. And that's why your so-called daughter, raised by such a careless mother, would make an equally foolish decision to marry young. He said Richard was burdened by all of this, which is why he changed so drastically. And that's why he told me to keep my distance from you.
And you still gave him $50,000?
Well, he said it would be funny to expose Richard's secret later, to humiliate you two and maybe even ruin your marriage.
Ah, I see. And now all of that is coming back to bite you. It's almost poetic, isn't it?
But I've been cutting back at work to focus on starting a family. We don't have much left. If this $50,000 is truly gone, what am I supposed to do?
That's not my problem. We have nothing to do with your husband's lies. You believed him and you acted on it. All of this is on you.
No, wait, you have to help me. I'll find a way to pay it back if I have to, but...
Sorry, but we're done here.
Wait, don't look away from your phone yet, please. You have to understand I'm desperate here. I can't face my husband alone with this mess.
I don't see how that's my concern. You've dragged me into something that has absolutely nothing to do with me, and now you want me to help clean it up? You have to take responsibility for your own choices, Rosa.
But if I'd known this was all lies, I wouldn't have given him the money in the first place. You have to see that. I was deceived too.
Maybe so, but you didn't bother to confirm any of it with us, did you? Instead, you just took Chris's word as gospel and handed him $50,000. And now that it's gone, you want me to fix it? How is that fair?
I didn't think I'd need to confirm it. My husband has never lied to me before, or so I thought. He always seemed so trustworthy, so sincere. But now I feel like I've been living with a complete stranger.
You said it yourself. He's a gambler and a womanizer. How is any of that trustworthy or sincere?
I didn't know he was still like that. He promised he'd change. He said he left that part of his life behind years ago.
And yet you still thought it was believable that Richard, the man you claimed to have loved for years, would be the one gambling and chasing women instead? Rosa, do you even hear yourself?
I don't know. I was angry, okay? Seeing Richard with you after all those years, happy and successful, it hurt. And when Chris told me all those things about him, I wanted to believe it. It made me feel better somehow, like I dodged a bullet.
So you let your jealousy cloud your judgment. That's not my fault, and it's not Richard's fault either. You chose to believe lies because it suited you, and now you're paying the price for it. Literally.
But Chris is my husband. How could I not trust him?
You just said you feel like you've been living with a stranger, so which is it? Do you trust him or don't you?
I don't know anymore. Everything is so messed up. My husband is gone, my savings are gone, and now I don't even know what's true and what's a lie. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
That's unfortunate, but it's not my problem.
Please, I am begging you. If I can just find my husband and figure out where the money went, I can fix this. But I can't do it alone.
Why are you even coming to us for help? Chris is your husband. Isn't he the one you should be chasing down? He won't answer my calls, and I don't know where he is. That's why I thought maybe he was with you, or that you might know something. But if you really haven't seen him, I don't know where else to turn. Have you tried his usual haunts, the casinos, the bars? If he's up to his old tricks, that's probably where you'll find him. I've checked everywhere I can think of. He's not any of the places he used to go. It's like he's completely disappeared. Then maybe it's time to accept the truth. Chris isn't coming back. Not with the money and not with any answers. No, that can't be. He wouldn't just abandon me like this. Why not? He's done it before, hasn't he? You said yourself that he's gambled away everything in the past. What makes you think this time is any different? Because he promised me. He said he'd changed, that he wanted to build a future with me. And you believed him, just like you believed every other lie he told you. Rosa, I hate to say it, but you've been a fool. I don't need you to rub it in. I already know I've been stupid, but I can't just give up. I have to find him. Fine, then go find him, but leave us out of it. We've got nothing to do with this mess, and I'm done wasting my time on it. Wait, please, don't leave me yet. What now? If you really haven't seen Chris, then maybe you can help me in another way? I don't see how. You could talk to Richard for me. Maybe he knows something. Maybe Chris reached out to him and didn't tell you. Rosa, I already told you Richard hasn't seen Chris in years. They don't talk, they don't meet up, and they certainly don't share secrets. But what if Chris contacted him recently, just this once? Richard might know something and just didn't want to worry you by telling you about it. That's ridiculous. Richard tells me everything. If Chris had contacted him, I would know. Are you absolutely sure about that? Yes, I'm sure. Unlike you and Chris, we don't keep secrets from each other. Then, what am I supposed to do? That's up to you to figure out, but I suggest you start by accepting the truth. Chris lied to you, he took your money, and now he's gone. The sooner you stop looking for excuses and start facing reality, the sooner you can move on. Move on? How am I supposed to move on when my life is falling apart? You rebuild. It's not easy, but it's the only option you have. Rebuild with what? I have nothing left. Then start from scratch, get a job, save up, and cut Chris out of your life for good. But I still love him. That's your choice, but don't expect him to change, and don't expect anyone else to clean up his messes for you. I can't believe this is happening. I thought I had everything figured out. That's the problem, Rosa. You thought you knew everything, but you didn't bother to look deeper. And now you're paying the price for your blind trust. I just wanted to be happy. Is that so wrong? No, it's not wrong, but happiness built on lies is always going to crumble sooner or later. Do you think there's any chance Chris might come back? Honestly, no. If he's taken the money and disappeared, he's probably moved on to his next scheme. But he promised me. And how many of his promises has he actually kept? None? Then there's your answer. So that's it? I just have to accept that he's gone and start over? Pretty much. I don't know if I can do that. You don't have a choice. But what if he does come back? What if he wants to make things right? Then that's up to you to decide. But if I were you, I wouldn't hold my breath. I guess you're right. Finally. Thank you for being honest with me. Don't thank me. Just learn from this and make better choices next time. I'll try. Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a life to get back to. Wait, just one last thing. What now? If you do hear from Chris, can you let me know? Fine, but don't hold your breath. Thank you. Goodbye, Rosa. Goodbye. Chris never returned after the incident and has apparently disappeared without a trace. The situation surrounding his disappearance is murky, but what is clear is that he completely vanished from the scene, leaving behind a trail of confusion, unanswered questions, and, unfortunately, financial and emotional turmoil for all involved. His sudden disappearance was both a shock and, in some ways, a relief, though it didn't come without its own set of problems. We have no idea where he went or what he's doing now. Some have speculated that he simply ran away to escape the consequences of his actions, but others suggest that he may have gotten involved in something much deeper and eventually led to his fleeing. All we know is that Chris is no longer a part of the picture and he left a huge mess behind him. However, just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, a horrifying truth came to light. It was revealed that Chris had accrued a staggering amount of debt, an amount so large that it was practically unimaginable. The sheer scale of his financial irresponsibility was enough to make anyone's head spin. How did he manage to get himself into this position? Well, the details are unclear, but from what we've heard, Chris had been living beyond his means for a long time, indulging in lavish purchases, taking out loans, and getting involved in financial schemes that only served to deepen the hole he was digging for himself. He had been hiding his financial troubles from everyone for years, perhaps hoping that he could find a way out or that someone would come to his rescue. Sadly for him, no rescue ever came, and his debts reached a point where they could no longer be ignored or concealed. And here's where the situation took a darker turn. It wasn't just Chris who had to bear the burden of this massive debt. No, it was Rosa, his wife, who was forced to take on this financial nightmare. The news that she was expected to pay off Chris's debts was not just shocking, it was infuriating. Rosa, for all her faults, was not the one responsible for Chris's reckless behavior. Yet somehow she found herself trapped in a situation where she had no choice but to take on this enormous financial burden. It seems that Chris had left her with no option but to carry the weight of his mistakes, whether it was through joint accounts, shared financial responsibility, or simply the legal ramifications of their marriage. Whatever the reason, Rosa ended up shouldering the burden of his debts, and it's difficult to imagine the kind of stress and hardship she must have experienced as a result. At this point, we had no choice but to sever all ties with Rosa. The situation was simply too toxic to be a part of. And we knew that continuing to stay in contact with her would only lead to more frustration and heartbreak. It wasn't just about the debts anymore. It was about the lies, the manipulation, and the emotional turmoil that came with being involved with Chris and Rosa. We blocked her from all communication channels, phones, emails, social media, everything. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was necessary for our own peace of mind. We couldn't keep dragging ourselves down into the mess they had created. From that point on, we had no way of knowing what became of Rosa. What happened to her after we cut her off? Did she manage to pay off the debts Chris had left behind? Did she find a way to rebuild her life, or did she fall deeper into despair? We'll never know, and honestly, we don't really want to know. The truth is, we have no interest in being involved in that chapter of her life any longer. The situation has grown too complex, too painful, and the emotional toll has been too great. We had no reason to continue allowing ourselves to be caught up in it. If we were being entirely honest, there was a part of us that felt a sense of relief after blocking Rosa. Sure, we felt some guilt about cutting her off, but the overwhelming feeling was one of freedom. We had spent so much time and energy dealing with the fallout of Chris and Rosa's disastrous relationship, and at last, we could distance ourselves from it. The burden was no longer ours to carry. And yet, as much as we tried to distance ourselves from the situation, there was an undeniable sense of vindication that came with seeing Chris and Rosa face the consequences of their actions. If you could call it justice, then this was the justice they deserved. These two people who had shown nothing but selfishness and cruelty in their dealings with others were now reaping what they had sown. Their once pristine image had been shattered, and they were left to deal with the fallout of their choices, alone and isolated. It's hard to feel sympathy for them after everything that had happened. The truth is, as much as we tried to move on from it, we couldn't help but feel like this was the outcome they had earned. For us, their downfall felt almost like karma. Chris and Rose's relationship had been toxic from the beginning. It was built on lies, manipulation, and an utter lack of accountability. They had both contributed to the mess they found themselves in, and it was difficult to feel sorry for either of them. In the end, they were alone, and no amount of excuses or apologies could change that. Looking at the situation from a distance, it's hard not to feel a sense of closure. We had seen Chris and Rosa for what they truly were, and while it took a long time for the truth to come out, we finally know where we stood. They had manipulated and lied to everyone around them, and now they were left to deal with the consequences of their actions. It's not that we enjoy seeing people suffer, but in this case, it was hard to see their downfall as anything other than just. They had taken advantage of others for far too long, and now it was their turn to face the consequences. There's a certain satisfaction that comes with knowing that those who hurt others will eventually be held accountable. Chris and Rosa may have thought they could escape the repercussions of their actions, but the reality caught up with them. Looking back, it's almost surreal to think how things turned out. Chris, who once seemed so confident and in control, was now a ghost. A man who had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a pile of debts and broken relationships. Rosa, who may have once been seen as an innocent victim, turned out to be just as complicit in their mess as her husband. Together, they had created a situation so destructive that it had consumed their lives and the lives of those around them. But for us, the most important thing was that we had finally broken free from their chaos. We no longer had to be a part of their toxic world, and that in itself was a relief. We could finally focus on our own lives without the constant weight of Chris and Rosa's drama hanging over us. Their downfall was a reminder of how important it is to take responsibility for your actions. Chris and Rosa had spent years avoiding accountability, hiding behind excuses, and pretending that everything was fine. But in the end, they had no choice but to face the consequences of their behavior. And while their downfall may have been tragic for them, it was also a lesson in the importance of honesty, integrity, and accountability. We've moved on from their story, and while we may occasionally think about them, it's not with any sense of pity or regret. Instead, it's a reminder that sometimes people's actions catch up with them, no matter how hard they try to avoid the consequences. For Chris and Rosa, their actions eventually led them to a place of isolation and ruin. And while they may never fully understand the impact they had on others, we can take solace in knowing that, in the end, they were held accountable for what they did. Their story, as chaotic and destructive as it was, ultimately served as a harsh but necessary reminder that actions have consequences, and eventually we all must face them. One thing that became clear in the aftermath of their collapse was the sense of relief that came with putting the entire situation behind us. While we haven't been the ones to make the decisions that led to their downfall, we had played a part in the story, and it wasn't exactly an easy role to play. At times, it felt like we were caught in a whirlwind, unsure of what would happen next. But once we made the decision to cut ties with Chris and Rosa, things began to feel a lot more stable. It was like removing a toxic weight from our shoulders, and though the decision was difficult, it was the right one. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Hey, Mom! I just got my acceptance letter in the mail. As of this fall, I will officially be a student at an Ivy League university. You know what that means? It means that now it's official. I am way better than you in every single way. From this point on, I am going to take a completely different path in life than you.
That's wonderful to hear, Misty. I'm so proud of you. You worked so hard to earn this.
I can't take all the credit for myself, though. You were the best reverse role model I could have asked for. All I had to do was take a look at you, and that provided the motivation I needed to not fail as miserably as you did. I thought about all the decisions you made in life, and I took the exact opposite ones. And thanks to that, I'm on my way up while your life is only going downhill from here. And since we're talking about the future, I have a request for you. I want to completely disassociate from you, so get out of our house and never talk to us again.
What? Misty, what are you saying? You don't want me in your life anymore?
Yeah, I thought I made that clear already. While I was studying for the SAT, I needed someone to cook and everything for me. I mean, how am I supposed to focus if I also have to clean my own room, wash the dishes, that sort of stuff? And since you're not good for anything but being a free maid, I decided I would get as much out of you as I could. But now that's all over, I have a lot more free time. I can do all that stuff by myself just fine, and I don't need you anymore. So I think it's time for you to go. As soon as possible. Immediately if you can.
Misty, is that how you really felt about me all this time? Not as your mother, but as a maid? You haven't been speaking to me much lately, but I thought that you were just under a lot of stress. I mean, applying to an Ivy League university is no small task, but you're telling me that it's because you just wanted to use me while you could then toss me aside? Why would you do this to me, Misty? What have I done to deserve this?
It's not that you've done something per se. It's more just the fact that you exist, if you know what I mean. Your mere presence in the house is enough to completely kill my mood.
I don't understand why you would feel that way.
Really? You don't? Think about it. Use a tiny brain of yours for a change. I don't even know why Dad wanted to marry you in the first place. You're nowhere near good enough for him. You're a high school dropout, which by itself is enough to make me puke. But not only that, you're fat and ugly. Being related to you is one of the most humiliating things I can imagine.
I cannot believe the way you're talking to me. I think I need to have a talk with your father about this.
Don't bother. He's agreeing with me. He wanted me to give you a message, actually. He says I'm done with you, get out of my house, and we're getting divorced.
What?
That works out really well in my favor, too. If I tell people I'm being raised by a single father, they're gonna feel super bad for me. I'll get preferential treatment in job interviews, and there are even a few scholarships I can apply for. Unfortunately, though, there aren't any scholarship programs for the children of fat, ugly high school dropouts. So you staying in my life has a major downside and absolutely no upside. Do you get it now?
Is your father with you right now? Boyle,
You bet. Dad was so happy for me when he heard I got accepted into an Ivy League university that he's taking me out to a 5-star restaurant for dinner. And before you ask, yes, we deliberately didn't invite you. I mean, you're not going to be our family for very much longer. So why waste the money on buying you all this high-class food? A high school dropout like you wouldn't like it anyway. You can have boiled hot dogs for dinner or something.
Hot dogs?
Yeah, I was the one that came up with that line, actually. Dad cracked up laughing when I told it to him earlier.
Well, even if you weren't going to invite me, I wish you would have at least told me. I had no idea you wouldn't be home, so I already made dinner for all of us. I won't be able to eat this all by myself.
As if I would care that you wasted your time. Honestly, the thought of you slaving away over hot stove while me and Dad are dining on the finest food around is just hilarious. Go ahead and eat whatever pig slop you whipped up by yourself and throw away any leftovers.
I just got a text from your father. He's telling me he wants a divorce. What is going on here? Was that really you? Did you send me that text from your dad's phone to back up your story?
I know you're stupid, but really, Mom? I'm talking to you right now, aren't I? Do you think I'm texting you from my phone with one hand and Dad's phone with another? I'm pretty good at texting, but not that good.
Then this is what your father really wants? He really wants to divorce me.
I've been trying to convince him to break up with you for ages now. I tell him every day that you're just a fat, ugly high school dropout, and he can do better. Looks like I finally managed to convince him I'm right.
I see. So,
Anything. We were literally just talking about how much more fun we'll have without you around. Dad was saying how great it would be if we got back from this awesome dinner and you were already gone.
all right then, I'll leave. If that's what you really want, then I have no objections.
Wait, really? Awesome! Thanks so much, Mom. Divorcing Dad is the best high school graduation present that could have ever given me. This is the best!
I'll have my lawyer draw up a set of divorce papers tonight. I'll pick them up from his office in the morning, sign them, and drop them off in the afternoon. After that, I'll leave. Is that what you want?
That is literally the best possible way this could have gone. I was afraid you would drag the process out. I never expected you would give up so easily.
Why would I want to drag the divorce out? You aren't worth the time. Now, I have a lot of things to do before tomorrow, so I'll end this conversation here.
Good morning, sunshine. So, have you gotten used to life at my place yet? I'm glad to see that all the kids have taken a liking to you. Are they causing you any problems in the morning?
Not at all. I've never been woken up by 10 dogs taking turns licking my face before. It's a refreshingly new experience. But really, though, being around all those dogs is really soothing. It's like the stress that's been building up inside me over the last several years is all getting released at once.
I'm really glad to hear that. They do say that interacting with animals is good for mental health. By the way, all of the dogs in my place were rescues. Did I tell you about that?
You did, yeah. I think you said that you were looking for permanent homes for them?
That's right. They're all dogs that were in the shelter for so long that if no one picked them up, they were just going to get put down. I couldn't let that happen. So, I decided to take them all home myself and take care of them while I look for new owners for them. But I think I might be giving them a little bit too much love and affection. At this rate, I'd be surprised if they would be willing to go to a new home.
I know what you mean. I bet you feel the same way, though. I've only been here for a few days, but I'm already starting to dread the day when I'll have to leave. It's, I don't know, kind of heartwarming. Like I had a human family of my own up until a few days ago. But I feel more at home here with you and your dogs than I ever did with my husband and daughter.
Yep. That's why they have therapy dogs at hospitals. The more hurt a person is, the more they feel the joy and warmth that comes from taking care of animals. I guess that's one of the big differences between humans and dogs. A human child eventually gets to the point where they can take care of themselves and don't need their parents anymore. But it doesn't work that way for dogs. No matter how old they get, they'll always need the help of their owners to survive. I don't have kids of my own, but I feel like maybe the motivation I get from taking care of these dogs is similar to a parent's feelings towards their children.
Yeah, speaking from experience, I can say it's similar but different. With these dogs, all you need to do is pour love and affection into them and they'll give it right back to you. Human kids, not so much.
Wow, Sherry. It seems like you really had a hard time of things with your husband and daughter. I might not be the person you want to hear this from, but from what I've heard from you, you definitely did the best that you could for them.
Thanks for saying that, Haley. You know, that reminds me of something you said a long time ago.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Back when I got engaged to my husband, you tried to talk me out of it. But I was so obsessed with the idea of having a family that I didn't listen to you. You knew that I had wanted children since we were both kids, but you told me that I would probably be happier if I took care of animals instead. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah? What's that? Now that you mention it, I did say that. At the time, I had just gotten out of a long and unhealthy relationship with my previous boyfriend. I felt like I just couldn't trust anyone anymore, at least not any human. I was afraid that you would go into the relationship only thinking about having a child and not thinking about yourself. But hey, I'd say it was a roaring success. You did get married, you stayed married for almost 20 years, and you have a daughter. Plus, that daughter just got accepted into an Ivy League university. Not many parents can say that.
You really are a great friend, Haley. When you say it like that, it doesn't sound impressive, does it? But look at what's come of it all now. I gave my all for them, and it was all for nothing. Maybe you were right. Maybe I shouldn't have married him back then.
I don't think you should be caught up in should'ves or could'ves right now, Sherry. What's done is done. It's in the past now. No amount of regret can change the past. All you did was choose the pet that you thought was the best one at the time. That's all anyone can do, really. In the end, it didn't go out like you thought it would. What's important now is your future. Focus on the lessons you can learn from what happened and use them to choose a better path moving forward.
Wow, Haley, you're pretty good with words for someone who spends all her time around animals.
Hey, I'll have you know that animals can be very interesting conversation partners. At the very least, they're a lot more honest than your daughter. Honest and much more grateful. I'm happier now than I ever thought I could be. Which brings me to a proposal I wanted to run by you. What would you think about following in my footsteps?
Meaning what, exactly?
All right, listen up. I want answers. My dad just told me he's not going to be able to pay for my college tuition anymore.
I don't know why you'd expect any answers out of me. I'm nothing to you anymore. If you want answers, go and ask whatever questions you may have of your precious daddy. It's no longer any business of mine what goes on with you two.
I already tried that. Why do you think I'm talking to you?
And what did he tell you?
All he would tell me is that he can't pay for my tuition, so I would have to find some other way to pay for it. When I asked him why, he told me to ask you. What's going on, Mom? Did you do something to Dad?
I didn't do anything. It's just that I'm not going to pay for your college education anymore.
What? What are you talking about? You're gonna pay for my college tuition since when?
No, I was going to pay for your tuition. I changed my mind, though, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Your dad certainly can't pay for it, and that's why he's telling you to either find some way to finance it yourself, or else you'll have to drop out. What part of that don't you understand?
None of that makes any sense. My dad should not have any problem at all paying for me to go to college, even at an Ivy League one. Why were you the one who was going to pay for it? And now that you're not here anymore, why can't my dad pay for it?
It's because I've been paying for just about everything around here for as long as I can remember.
Don't lie to me. There's no way that's true. How could a fat, ugly high school dropout possibly pay all of our bills? You couldn't even make a mortgage payment with whatever lame part-time job you go to every day.
What made you think I was going to do a lame part-time job?
I mean, you are, aren't you?
No, it's just what you convinced yourself I was doing. If you would have asked me a single question about what it is I do for a living, I could have told you. But you never expressed any interest. You may think that I'm just some fat, ugly high school dropout, but I'm actually an executive at a major company.
Oh, come on. You can't expect me to believe that. There's no way any respectable company would make a high school dropout an executive. That's the kind of job that people who go to Ivy League universities do.
I'm sure that's what you would like to believe, but I'm afraid that's a product of your imagination. It's like you've never set foot in the real world.
Well, I haven't yet, no. I'll have plenty of time to go for that once I go to college, though.
You think college campuses are the real world? Yikes. In any case, my company isn't caught up too much in the credentialist craze. They're more concerned in finding talent and business sense. I won't deny that I did have something of a connection in the company that helped me out, but just because I dropped out of high school doesn't tell anyone anything about my real-world skills.
Of course it does! If you can't even finish high school, how could you possibly run an actual business?
You seem to be under the wrong impression. It's true that I wasn't able to finish high school. When I was 16, my parents both passed away in a car accident. None of my relatives lived in the area, so I had no choice but to get a job and support myself.
Wait, really? You mean you didn't drop out because you were too stupid to graduate?
At the time I dropped out, my grades were consistently at the top of the class. I was on my way to graduate as valedictorian. But there was no way I was going to be able to both keep up with my studies and keep food on my table, so I had no choice but to prioritize survival. That ended up working out in my favor, though. Shortly after I started out, the CEO of the company happened to stop by the factory I was working in. He was impressed by how well I worked despite being the youngest person in the company by about 10 years. So he actively promoted me to higher and higher positions of responsibility in the company. And every time I moved up the ladder, I put out real results. My numbers were even higher than all the older college graduates that I was working with.
I find that really hard to believe. But if that were true, it still doesn't explain why my dad can't pay for my tuition. He's just as much of an elite businessman as you are.
Is that what you think? I suppose if that's the impression of your father that you'd like to have, you're welcome to think that way. It still doesn't change the fact that he can't pay for your tuition. You'll just have to get a job and pay your own way if you can. Do you remember what you said to me before I divorced your father? You told me that I was the best reverse role model you could ask for. That was the reason you brainwashed your father into wanting to divorce me. You didn't want to walk down the same path I did. In the end, though, getting me to divorce your dad resulted in you having to support yourself at a young age just like I did. Isn't that ironic? Although in your case, you do have one advantage I didn't. You still have your father, as useless as he is.
Would you slow down for 1 second? I still don't understand. Dad's an elite businessman, isn't he? Why doesn't he have enough money to pay for my tuition?
How did you get accepted into an Ivy League university with a room temperature IQ? The reason he can't pay for your tuition is that he isn't an elite businessman.
No way, that can't be true. Dad always talks to me about how he's the CEO of his own company. He gets to hang out with all the wealthiest and most famous people in the area at exclusive parties.
I see he still can't let go of the past.
Huh? What is that supposed to mean?
It means that there was, in fact, a time when your father was an elite businessman. He was the CEO of his own company, and he was an active member of local elite circles. But that's all a thing of the past. His company went bankrupt a long time ago, and he's been unemployed ever since.
What? You're joking. Dad is unemployed?
If you want to think I'm joking, then by all means, go right ahead. It's the truth, though. I mean, if I really were joking, then there's no reason he wouldn't be able to pay for your tuition, right? He's a graduate of an elite university, the CEO of an elite company, and hangs out with an elite crowd. Surely a guy like him would want to pass on the benefits of a college education to his daughter, wouldn't he?
Wait, so you're being serious? Dad is really unemployed? But that makes even less sense. I mean, if you're telling the truth, that means he's unemployed and making no money. But you're an executive making tons of money. Why would he divorce you if that were the case?
If you think you're confused about that self-destructive move, imagine how shocked I was. The only reason I could think of was that he wanted to save face in front of you. You spent all your time buttering him up with praise, telling him that he's way too good for a fat, ugly high school dropout like me. How could he possibly come out and admit that he was the real loser after all of that?
But that would be the dumbest thing to do imaginable. He knew that you were the only one keeping him housed and fed. Divorcing you would have meant that his lifestyle would go straight down the drain.
You're absolutely right about that, and that's why he was talking to me for a while after you made him divorce me. He came to me saying that he only divorced me because you wanted him to, but that we can still have the same relationship as always. I have never heard anything so pathetic as that in my life. It was almost depressing to watch how much he was debasing himself for you.
So, he was talking to you behind my back?
He sure was, and that's not all he told me. Apparently, he had a secret stash of money that he had hidden when his company went bankrupt. So while I was paying for all of our bills, he was spending that money on whatever he wanted. He had never paid much attention to his balance, though, so he had no idea how much he had left. When I divorced him, he checked the balance for the first time in over a decade, and, well, it's not quite at zero, but it will be very, very soon.
Uh-oh.
He realized too late how much he was dependent on me. He was calling me multiple times a day for the last few days to apologize and beg for forgiveness. Once I gave it to him straight that I wasn't going to give him any money, he finally gave up. Considering his circumstances, I was kind of surprised that he was willing to give up so easily.
Man, poor Dad. He really had no idea how little savings he had left.
I don't really think of him as deserving of any pity, though. This is all a product of his own carelessness and selfishness. I mean, honestly, to think he had the gall to come to me and say that we could still love each other after the divorce? Did he really think I was going to agree to that? There would be absolutely nothing in it for me.
Well, what about me? Aren't you gonna give me child support or something? Even if you and Dad get divorced, you're still my mom. That means you have a responsibility to make sure all my needs are met. So you need to pay for my tuition, room, and board, and everything else I'll need to go to college.
Oh dear, your dad still hasn't told you?
Told me what?
That I'm not your biological mother.
What?
I'll take that as a no, then. The truth is that I'm actually your dad's second wife. Your birth mother vanished without a trace while you were still a baby.
That's insane. Why did she leave, though? What happened?
Well, your father didn't tell me much about her, and I never pressed him for more information. All he ever told me was that she was an awful woman who loved alcohol more than she loved him. Knowing what I know about your dad now, though, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more to the story than just that. But like I said, I never met her and never asked him much about her. If you want to know more, then you'll have to ask your dad yourself.
I don't believe this. You're really not my real mom? And I'm not your real daughter? But you've called me your daughter for as long as I can remember. You paid for everything I needed. You took care of me when I was sick. You did that even though I wasn't your real daughter?
That's right, Misty. I told you, didn't I? I lost my parents when I was still in high school. The only family I ever knew was ripped away from me in an instant. So from then on, I've wanted nothing but to be able to build a new family of my own. Fate had other plans in store for me, however.
What do you mean?
When I was getting a checkup in my late teens, the doctor noticed an irregularity. So they did some more tests and gave me what I consider to be the second worst news I've received in my life. I would never be able to have a child of my own.
Well, you're infertile?
Yeah, and that's why when I met your father through a dating website, I thought he was the answer to my prayers. A man with a good job and an infant daughter that I can raise as my own. My friend was hesitant about the idea and tried to talk me out of it, but my desire for a family was too strong and I married him anyway. I should have listened to her.
That's crazy. I had no idea. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
Your dad decided that you didn't need to know until you were older, both about his company and about your birth mother. I respected his wishes, that's all.